Welcome. You're listening to New Day Talk Radio, where every day is a new day. You're listening to Consulting to Win with your host, Ralph White.
Good morning. This is Ralph White, and I'm welcoming you to Consulting to Win Radio on New Day Talk Radio. I'm here with my cohort, Bonnie Landau, a consultant with Possibilities Unlimited, and we're here to give you the experience of working with a business coach, and that's our purpose of this show. And we're excited about the opportunity of working with you today and really bringing you that opportunity of working with us and learning and growing and experiencing what it's like to work and expand your business in the use of business coaching. Every great athlete, every great performer has a coach in order to expand their business, in order to grow the experience, in order to perform, excel, and exceed in what they're doing. And that's how you want to use a coach, as an advisor, as someone in your court to help you produce a bigger result. That's really what a coach is for. Somebody on your team, somebody that shares the wins and actually shares the losses with you and gives you inspiration in moving forward. So we're here today to support that with you. And I've been, in the last 18 years, I've worked with thousands of business owners and managers in designing their business and designing their plans and creating the futures that they would like to have, in actually developing opportunities and developing what they want versus what the circumstances are going to give them. And that's really the purpose of what we're here today with. So that's what I'm here for. I'd like to introduce Bonnie. You introduce yourself, Bonnie.
Hi, this is Bonnie Landau, consultant with Possibilities Unlimited. Ralph and I have worked together over the last 3 years, working with several clients in a variety of industries, helping them to grow their sales and produce very fantastic results.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, we're actually after people producing incredible results. Incredible is like so extraordinary that it seems impossible. That's what we're after. To help people produce something beyond what they can possibly see at the moment. It's the realm of beyond possibility. And people are oftentimes in a domain of trying to figure out what they want to do. And when we work with them, we kind of stretch them beyond what they can currently see, what they can currently perceive as possible. Most of the time people in their business are kind of stuck in I don't know where I want to go, I don't have a plan, I don't know how to get there. Oftentimes when we talk with people for the first time and I ask them, what are the 3 things you want to accomplish in your business this year, they can't answer the question. They haven't focused, they haven't developed an intention for the year. And we actually, when Bonnie and I work with them, help them figure out, really what it is you want, where do you want to go, and just that process, actually having an initial conversation with us, which actually we do with people, at no charge. We'll have an intention conversation with client to help them get focused, where they create 3 intentions, what they want to accomplish for this year. And we actually ask them to, have it be an incredible result, something beyond what they can expect or what they're predicting, something beyond a goal. And in that process, something opens up for them that they didn't expect. And then they start focusing on it and start creating a plan to make that happen. And in that process, something special happens. And just in that conversation, it's I find it very enjoyable having those conversations, and I've had them with thousands of people. And it's a really, actually, I consider it to be a gift to me to have those conversations with people. I've had it with Bonnie. I've had it with how did you feel in that conversation, Bonnie?
Well, I think it's an amazing opportunity to really envision what the dreams are for our business. I think that a lot of people don't stretch themselves as far as they should, and the coach can really help you open up that horizon. And even more than that, once you set these intentions in motion, a lot of hills and valleys occur, and working with a coach, the coach holds that vision for you and reminds you why you're reaching for that goal, how you're reaching for that goal, and how you have the capabilities of reaching for that goal. Because, the process of running a business, it can be very disconcerting sometimes when things don't go exactly as planned. So having that coach there really to remind you that this is the vision, this is what we're working for, and look at how far you've come. It's an incredible opportunity to move forward in a way that you never expected before.
Right. Very true. Very true. So our topic for today is sales and marketing. Last week we talked about, profitability in your business. Well, if you're going to have profitability, it's going to start with sales and marketing. So that's really what we want to focus on today. We want to remind you that the call-in number is 310-715-6709. So if you have a question, if something opens up, or please feel free to call in. Ask us any question that pertains to sales and marketing. That's 310-715-6709. And, ask your question. We'll support you in answering it. So what are some of the questions that people have asked in the arena, from some of our clients in the past?
I think one of the biggest questions people ask are, what are the basic elements of marketing and sales? How do I do that in my business?
Well, that's an excellent question, and it's going to the basics. I consider the four basics of sales and marketing are, number one, creating a marketing network. Before you can have sales, you've got to have opportunities for sales. Mm-hmm. It's a critical element of sales to have opportunities for sales. No opportunities for sales, no sales. People don't necessarily look at it. They open a business, they open the door, and they sit there and wait for the phone to ring. Wait for people to walk in the front door. If you have, you want to actually start with, creating opportunities for sales. It's like building a house. If you look at your business like you're going to build a house, okay, and that the opportunities for sales is the water that's coming to the house. So if you're going to build a house, you want to make sure that there's a water system coming to the house. If I'm going to build a house and I'm going to put it in the middle of the desert, I got a problem because there's no water in the middle of the desert. Mm-hmm. If I build it in the middle of Torrance, there's a water system in Torrance, so I got a good possibility when I turn the faucet on, I'm going to get water. Okay? So you want to start building that pipeline of opportunities. And how you do that is you start looking at how many people do I know. You start looking at your contact database. You look in your phone book and you say, how many people do I have the names and the phone numbers of and the email addresses of that would buy my services. Now, if you look and say, well, wait a minute, I don't have a phone book and I don't have any phone numbers or email addresses, that's a problem. If you look at, on the other hand, if you look at it and say, well, I've got a database of 10,000 people and I sell cookies, I'm going to make and bake cookies, and everybody, everybody that eats, which includes, well, let's see, there was a dentist on just before us with Dr. Jim. Maybe I shouldn't talk about cookies because they were talking about flour and sugar and what have you not being good for your teeth. Dr. Jim's, listening to his show is going to make me healthier. I listened last week about all of the things I wasn't supposed to eat, and and plastic and what have you, and it made me nervous for the whole week. Watching. I think Dr. Jim's forgotten more about health and well-being than I know. So if you're listening to this show, you want to call in, listen an hour earlier, and get healthier with Dr. Jim, and then we'll make your business healthier afterwards. But anyway, I'll still stay with my cookie analogy. But if you're making cookies, everyone who eats, would be a client. So that would be everybody would be a potential. But you want to look at, how many people do you know that you have the ability to contact that has the potential of using your goods or services?
Even more than that, Ralph, I think that when you say, what if I don't have an address book, that's an opportunity to really get creative. because, seeking out potential customers can actually become a game. I know that I have one client who works a lot with people who have anxiety. And so I asked him, how do you network your business? And as we started to talk about it, I said, well, who are other people who are complementary services that work with the same kind of customer? And one of the things we talked about was people who help people organize their homes, people who help people with clutter. Well, turns out I had another client who is a clutter expert. And so what I did was help marry them together, and the clutter expert helped the psychologist get into some of these associations where they can talk about, he can go in to the association meetings and he can talk about how he helps somebody who is a hoarder, which is actually an anxiety disorder. So in this situation, getting creative and trying to figure out where are my potential clients, who do they meet with, do I know anybody like that, or how could I hook up with somebody like that, is an opportunity to really expand that network and find customers in ways you'd never even considered before.
Excellent, excellent. See, you're getting into a conversation for possibility, and that's the reason the name of our company is Possibilities Unlimited Inc. You're looking at how do I build that pipeline, and you're actually looking for, I call it my banana theory. I like customers to come in bunches like bananas. I'm not looking for one customer one at a time. I'm looking for how do I find them in groups. Where do they gather in groups so that I can connect with them in multiples at a time. So that so it's like, what kind of clients am I looking for, and where would that group of clients be? So that I can touch more. Are they at networking meetings? Can I speak in front of them? Mm-hmm. Can I get on the radio show at newtalkradio.com and have my own radio show and contact thousands of them at a time? Can I have a Twitter account and connect with them? Can I be on Facebook? Can I be on do social networking? Like, Bonnie, actually, why don't you speak to that, because you're an expert in that arena.
Yeah, well, in the area of social networking, you can't even imagine the kind of people that you hook up with. Twitter is a perfect example. On Twitter, when you put up your name and a description of your company, people actually search on those keywords and look for people to connect with. And you can do the same. So, for example, if somebody is interested in connecting with PR agencies and they want to find out what they're doing because their business is complementary to their own, you can find other people on Twitter to follow. And it's very, very common on Twitter. If you follow somebody, they'll follow you back. It's kind of good Twitter etiquette. And so suddenly you're having people watching you and seeing your Twittering that are allowing you to expose your company to them that you never could reach before. And I know that Twitter, if you start conversations back and forth with these people in terms of personal conversations or helpful information, you can actually develop relationships with these people. And I know that recently on Twitter, there's a guy named Pro Blogger who's like the biggest blog in terms of teaching people blogging, and he launched an ebook. And in launching that ebook, he said, I just used my social media network, and the sales of that book skyrocketed. And it's because he invested the time and energy into developing relationships with people using Twitter and Facebook and social media websites.
Right. Yeah, so it's really looking at, how can I build that list of potential clients for my product. So it's really identifying who is a potential customer, what are the qualities that I'm looking for of a client for my product. I'd sit down and I'd make a list of the qualities of what I'm looking for. It's like, I use the analogy of fishing. So it's like, decide what is the kind of a fish that I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a 20-pound yellowfin tuna, then I need to go where there's 20-pound yellowfin tuna. I don't go and fish off a Redondo Pier because the probability of catching a 20-pound yellowfin tuna off a Redondo Pier is not very, very good.
I think also, Ralph, it's really important not to underestimate the value of your personal network. Your personal network are the people that you know in your life, your friends, your family, the people that you interact with in school. And, if you have kids in school, there's parents. And when you're seeking out a specific kind of customer, reaching out to your personal network and saying, do you know anybody in this industry? You will be surprised how many people know people.
Right.
So never underestimate those people that are closest to you. Even if they're not close to you in a business capacity, they sure are great networking opportunities for you.
Definitely. LinkedIn is a good business networking tool. You want to get on there, put your profile on there, do searches on there. You'll find people that from the school you went to, from business, where jobs you may have had in the past. You want to connect with those people.
Mm-hmm.
The people on LinkedIn.com are there because they want to network. You want to create relationships with them, connect to their group. They're there because they want to network. And the more you put on your page, you can sort on LinkedIn by different categories, so you can find people that are in different categories, and then you can connect with them and make requests of being connected.
Let me give you a couple tips on how to get found on LinkedIn. Couple things. First of all, there's a status update on LinkedIn, much like Twitter. It's a little box that you can update as much as you want. When people do searches for certain kinds of people, the people who come at the top of the list are the ones who have the most recently updated status. So the more often you update that status, the more likely you are to come up at the top of the list. Also, joining groups in LinkedIn, the groups all have forums where people can ask questions and you can answer questions. Those things get indexed well by Google, those questions and answers. And also, if you give an answer to a question and somebody marks you as the best answer, you get marked off in LinkedIn as an expert. And so the more of those questions you answer, the more opportunity you have to become an expert within LinkedIn, within your industry. So LinkedIn is an excellent tool. I've had people find me through LinkedIn who didn't know me before.
Right.
So it's just a great tool to use.
No, excellent. So if you have a question, be sure to call in at 310-715-6709. This is Bonnie Landau and Ralph White from Possibilities Unlimited on consultingtowinradio.com. Okay, so we're talking about sales and marketing, and I said the first element was creating a marketing network. The second key element of sales and marketing is creating a sales plan. And you would be surprised how many people operate a business without a sales plan. So there seems to be two extremes. One, I don't have a plan, and two, there's the other side that I have this beautiful plan that I paid a consultant to come in and draw up for me, put on a very elaborate form that I maybe even put in a binder, or I put in a CD that I've got stored in my file cabinet or my computer that I haven't looked at since I paid them $10,000 to do it. I'm not using. That seems to be the two extremes, and there's very little seems to be in the middle. Okay, I prefer something in the middle. I prefer something where you're not spending a lot of money on it, that you're actually using it. Something where it's less elaborate. Not that I'm not against consulting firms that charge a lot of money, but I prefer something that the company prepares. I prefer something that you're actually using, that's engaged. And I prefer something to where it actually shows up in your calendar as activities, where it's like, that you can, I like sales plans to where I could say, okay, where is the activities in your sales plan in your calendar? I have so many trade shows, I have so many sales events, I have so many sales appointments. I could look at your calendar and see what you have scheduled as activities for sales. I have some, so that's that. I have a sales calendar of activities for making sales.
I think the calendar, Ralph, is the most critical element because people set a lot of goals for sales and a lot of intentions, but then don't follow through because they're in production or, they're trying to get the business done. And so really setting aside that time and committing to it and following through is the best road to success. And I think that's where a lot of people don't follow through.
Right. And if you really look at it, most businesses, in most small businesses, if you look at the owner is, they're the sales department, they're the delivery department, they're the management, and they're the do everything else department. You know, and the make coffee and the janitor. You know, I talk to people in business. I says, well, do you have an organization chart? And they say, yes, it's me, 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 me.
You could add the computer to the chart.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But the reality, and when you look at a business like that, you know, and it's successful, you know, and they're doing well. And you really, when you look at it, you've got a successful business with a part-time salesperson. Yeah, yeah, chief cook and bottle washer. That's Felipe. He's giving me a note here. He says he's everything. Yeah, so that's true. Yeah, so it's, but you've got to. The reality is, you know, the salesman of a small business is a part-time salesman. So if you're successful, you've built a successful business on a part-time salesman. Okay. But what happens is, you know, the business owner goes out, usually makes a sale, and then comes back and stops selling to deliver on it. You know, let's say it's an attorney, for instance. The attorney goes out, gets a case, comes back to deliver on the case, stops selling to deliver. Mm-hmm. Okay, they deliver on the case. They collect, if they're lucky, they collect on the case. And then they're sitting there with the money for delivering on it, but they don't have any sales. So now they got to fire up the sales machine and go looking for sales. Well, while they're looking for sales, they're spending the money that they've collected, or maybe, unfortunately, they haven't collected. So now they're sitting with no money, waiting for collection, and working on trying to generate sales. So they're sitting there with no money, trying to sell. And this is what causes the yo-yo effect of small businesses, of up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay. If you don't take any other coaching that I give you over this radio show, if you just take this one piece of coaching, it's worth, this is an invaluable piece of coaching. And if you take this one piece, it will be worth, all of your time. It's worth $1 million. This is the $1 million piece of coaching, and I'm going to give you. So I will be sending you the bill in the mail. Just call in and give me your address, and I'll send you the bill. Always be selling. Every week, be selling. If you sell every week, you will take the yo-yo effect out of your business. It's like breathing. Your business must breathe, and how your business breathes is with selling. If you're always selling, it's like in the old days when we had a receptionist. That was always, before we had phone answering systems, somebody always was answering the phone. You must always be selling. Some portion of the week, I don't care how busy you are, you've got to carve out some period of time. I recommend 2 hours a day. That's 10 hours a week on a 5-day week that you're selling. If you carve out that amount of time to sell for 10 hours a week, you will be growing your business. If you do that, and if you're the owner of the business and you can't do that, then somebody else has got to be selling 10 hours a week.
Well, Ralph, when you say selling, I know a lot of people out there are thinking, oh my God, I'm on the phone cold calling people. So what do you mean exactly by selling? What are they doing in doing sales?
Sales is having conversations with people who have the potential of buying your products. Selling is talking to people. Selling is calling people up and engaging them in conversations.
It also includes then expanding the network, going to places, meeting people, maybe giving talks. It's not just sitting on the phone cold calling.
No, it's asking for referrals. It's connecting with people that you've known from the past. It's not hiding from people. It's not doing your marketing where you're sitting there buying business cards. It's talking to people.
So it's also social media.
Social media.
So sitting down every day. This is what I always recommend, that people spend a half hour a day doing social media, and that would be 20 minutes in the morning to review blogs and put up comments and put up comments on LinkedIn and Twitter, etc., and then 5 minutes in the afternoon to add some more comments on Twitter, etc.,
right.
And then one more time late in the day, so spreading it out. So that too is selling.
Right. Those kinds of activities that are going to lead to a sale. Those kinds of conversations, again, I keep putting it in conversations with people who have the potential of buying your product. If you're selling something, is the person you're talking to going to have the potential of either buying it or referring you to somebody who has the potential of buying it?
I think it's also really important to point out that a sale is not necessarily an immediate thing. You could sell and talk to somebody and not have a sale, actual dollar sale from them for 9 months or a year. But every effort you put into sales at some point will turn into a dollar figure sale.
Right.
So I think a lot of people expect that immediate return. I'm like, how come I'm not getting all the sales? I'm doing all this work. And sometimes it takes time to lay down that network and lay down that group of people, and then down the line, several months, you start seeing results from it. And I think oftentimes people get surprised. Wow, I talked to that person 6 months ago, and I didn't think they were interested, and here they've kept my number all the time.
Right. Yeah, I look at sales as like there's this 20-foot long piece of pipe, and I'm putting in opportunities at one end of the pipe, and they're coming out the other. It's like, again, going back to my analogy of the house, of the water. I'm putting in a drop of water at one end, and the water's going to come out at the other. So if I put one drop of water at the one end, and it's a 20-foot long piece of pipe, and it's 20 inches in diameter, if I put in one drop of water at one end and I run to the other end to get a drink, I'm going to. There's no water coming out.
You'll be thirsty.
I'll be thirsty. But if I put in another drop and another one and another one and another one, as long as I continue to put drops of water in one end, eventually, when I go to the other end, there's going to be this stream of water coming out. And as long as I'm selling and putting in opportunities continuously on one end, nonstop, I'm going to have a stream of water coming out the other end of the pipe. And that's what you want to do. If you continually, by virtue of being in business, you're going to have this stream of opportunities coming your way. If you've been in business for 10 years, by virtue of being in business, there will be a stream of opportunities coming your way by the fact that you've got 10 years of satisfied customers, you've done good work, you've got referrals by virtue of that. But you've got to constantly increase the number of opportunities. Like I said, if the more opportunities for doing business, the higher the probability that you're going to have more sales. And in this marketplace, people talk about business is good and business is bad, or the market is up or the market is down. I'm not interested in that. I'm looking at, people talk about the economy. I'm interested, I talk to them, I said, well, how much, let's say that you're in the hot dog business, and they say, well, the economy's down. I got a hot dog stand, and well, people aren't buying hot dogs and drinks because the economy's down. Give me a break. You're selling hot dogs and drinks on the corner. The economy being down is going to stop people from eating hot dogs and drinks on the corner. I mean, you're looking to sell, a few $1,000s worth of hot dogs. You're not looking to sell all the hot dogs on the planet. If you look at how much business you're looking for, everybody is looking for really a small portion of the business.
I think, Ralph, that's really the key. What people don't realize, if you can flip the perspective, instead of saying, I'm looking for all this business, if you say, how much business is out there in my industry? How much business is available? And then you look at the portion that you're looking for, you'll see it's actually a very small percentage of a very large industry.
Right. Exactly. And if you're looking for a small, if I'm just looking for this small percentage, I'm not really asking for that much. What I need to do is increase my efforts to generate those opportunities. And I do that with a sales plan, defining how much I'm looking for, defining my activities and my actions. I need to up my efforts to generate that. I've got a defined plan. I've got a defined set of actions. I've got to increase my effort. And then I've got to stay on course. My sales plan gives me a map. When I'm creating a plan, I look at my plan, and then I step back from the plan and I look at it and say, is that list of actions sufficient enough to produce the result? And if my mind says no, I increase the list of actions. I look at it, it's like, if I'm going to clean my garage, and I look at it and say, well, I'm going to spend 10 minutes working on cleaning my garage. And I look at it and say, Ralph, come on, give me a break. 10 minutes on the garage, you're not going to get the floor swept in 10 minutes. That's an insufficient list of actions to get the job done. Okay? Take another look. Okay, well, I'm going to spend the day cleaning the garage, taking everything out, rearranging it, putting it back in. Okay? Now, maybe I better get my son to help me with him and me spending the day. Now we got the garage clean. Now I got a list of actions. Well, wait a minute, I got to get my son to come here and got to arrange that. Now I've got that scheduled. Now I got a list of actions that's going to get the job done. Okay? Now I have a plan that will produce the result. Then I'm satisfied that I'm going to accomplish the objective. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
But, I could hear our listeners saying, but I don't like selling. I don't like doing that kind of stuff. I don't want to have to keep telling people about my business. What do you say to people who really are very resistant to doing sales types of activities?
Well, the first thing is get over it. The purpose of business is to make money now and in the future. That's the purpose of business. If you're going into business, you went into business because you liked what you did. Otherwise, you shouldn't be in business. You should be working for someone else. Okay? The best salesperson for your business is you. No one knows what you're doing better than you. No one should be more passionate about it than you. So the best salesperson for your business is the owner. Okay? And as an owner of a business, to win in business, it's a game. It's a game that involves numbers, but it's a game. That's a paradigm. That's why our website is consultingtowin.com. And when we define winning as a win-win game. It's not I win, you lose. It's a win-win game. That's how we define winning. But as a game, to win the game, it isn't doing one thing really well. You can't be a great web designer and win the game of business. You have to be really good at a number of things to win the game. You have to be good at designing webs. You can be a great web designer, but you have to be good at bidding the job. You have to be good at delivering the job. You have to be good at collecting for delivering the job. You have to be good at managing it. You have to be good as a project manager. There's numerous things you have to be good at. And then you have to be good at building a system, a sales system, and a delivery system. Once you have all of those things in place, then you can delegate them to somebody else. Then you can hand them off to somebody else.
Well, what if somebody really, really doesn't want to do sales? What about maybe hiring somebody else to do the sales or outsourcing the sales? How effective is that if the owner really just doesn't want to or doesn't have the time?
Well, I think it's best if the owner can come up with, if the owner can learn how to do it, then, the owner can demonstrate the ability to do it. Then they know who to hire, and then they know who to outsource it. If the owner doesn't know how to do it, and the owner can't do it, then how are they going to know who to hire? That's always my concern. And I'm not saying that the owner has to be an expert, but I'm saying they have to, they have to demonstrate. They have to learn something. It's like in order to be able to know how to hire someone. In other words, otherwise they're going to end up hiring somebody that sells them, I can sell this, and maybe that's the only sell they make. I see a lot of salespeople that, they make one sale to the company that I'm a good salesman, and then that's the only sale they make. So that's a challenge. And I'm not saying that, that you can't outsource sales. I mean, there's lots of good, then that's definitely, you must have a coach. You've got to have somebody to help you make that decision in building that sales system, because that's when you need somebody to help you make the decisions on how to build those systems.
That's a good point, Ralph.
Right.
And I know that you keep saying the word system, and you talk about, having a plan. I think it's really critical when it comes to sales that there is a rhythm in the actions that are taken, and that if you don't do the same things in a certain pattern, things tend to fall down and not get accomplished. So I really hear you when you say, outsourcing that or hiring somebody else, it just adds another level of complexity. And if the owner really takes advantage of opportunities to sell, then the owner can really understand what's needed in an individual who's going to sell for the company.
Right. The rhythm of doing something, over and over again. Having, it's, I see companies where everything is kept in people's heads. They don't put a system in place. And they're constantly reinventing the wheel. And the noticing this, like, how come I solved that problem 2 weeks ago and it's back again? And then how come, I was talking to a client that I have in China on a call last week, and the lady's, she's complaining, it's like, how come my people don't have common sense? And I'm like, and this lady has a lot of common sense, and how come they can't remember this? How come they can't remember this? And I'm telling her, I says, make a list and make a checklist that they have to check things off. And she says, what if they can't remember to check things off on the checklist? I says, then make a little tag that you put around their wrist that says, check the checklist. And she says, what if they can't remember to follow that? I said, then we'll put something on their glasses that says, check your wrist. She says, that might work. I says, she says, but they should have common sense. They can't remember something from 1 week to the next. And I said, then you build a system that makes it so they don't have to remember. At one time I used to think, I says, Ralph, just how tight do you have to manage how systematized does something have to be? When do you stop building the system? And I realized that you build the system until it works, until the quality of the product is consistently perfect, until the quality of what you're doing comes out time and time again that exceeds your expectations. You keep tightening up the system.
So give me some examples of some of the things that you would put into a sales system. You talked about, we've talked about networking and expanding on the network, but what about things like how much sales should I have every week? Or how do I know if I've achieved that amount? And what do I do if I don't achieve that amount? What kind of things would you put into a system to help track all of that?
Well, I measure for the hours that I'm spending in sales. I measure for the number of appointments that I measure for, I look for what it is I want to accomplish. Okay, how much sales, what's my sales goals? What's my objectives?
So that would be a dollar figure or number
Yes.
of clients?
Dollar figure.
Dollar figure.
So I start with how much money do I want? In other words, I'm always driving my business from what it is I want. And then I back down from there what my costs are. I subtract, I take what I want, I add that to, what's in it for me, and then I put my costs on there, and then that tells me where my sales have to be. Okay, so that determines my sales numbers. And then from my sales numbers, I determine how many clients that I need. So now I know how many clients I need. And then I look at, okay, what does it take to generate a client? How many people do I need to talk to generate a coaching client? Okay, so because I know what my close ratio is. I know how many people I have to talk to generate a client. So then what I do is actually I schedule in my calendar appointments to talk to people. So I just have I use Outlook, and in my calendar it says appointment to talk to someone. It says sales appointment. And then I start looking for names to put where I have sales appointments already scheduled. So I know that there's somebody out there that's going to talk to me during that time period. And if you would like to talk to me during that time period, you send me an email to Ralph@consultingtowin.com or call Leanne at 310-374-5976, because I have you already scheduled in my calendar, and she'll set up a time for you to talk to me during one of those times that I already have scheduled to talk to new potential clients. So I've already have it in my calendar set up for that. And then that's something I'm already measuring for, and I have it actually color coded in Outlook. So I know when I'm looking at my calendar, do I have enough time set up with my close ratio to generate enough new clients to generate the income that I'm looking for? So I have it very well designed. And then I have the clients that I'm currently working with set up in the calendar to where I'm very, I can actually calculate what my income is going to be from across the room based on the colors in my calendar.
What happens, though, if you do all that work and you don't meet the sales goals, and how do you reevaluate and change the system so that you will meet it next time?
Well, first off, I don't beat myself up. That's my number one rule. It's a waste of time to beat myself up saying, oh, Ralph, you're insufficient or there's something wrong with you. I'm always looking at it's like baseball. I get up to bat, I swing at the ball, and I either hit it or I don't hit it. And then I look, I'm not going to allocate time to like there's something wrong with me. It's just the result is I either hit the ball or I didn't hit the ball. Okay, if I didn't hit the ball, I look at how am I going to improve my game. So I look at, what is it that I need to do in sales, to make, to score next time. How am I going to improve my game? Perhaps I need more times at bat. I need more sales occasions scheduled to produce the result I'm after. I need to add something else, some other activity, like the radio show is a new activity that I just added, on the New Talk Radio, newdaytalkradio.com. I added that as a new sales activity. So that's something I added into my calendar. That wasn't there before. So I look for new things that will generate, as a marketing activity, that will generate more opportunities for sales.
And I think it's fair to say, too, to remember to put time in your calendar to review and assess your sales plan.
Right.
So that you make sure that every single week you're looking at your activities and making sure that they're bringing you the results that you want.
Definitely. Matter of fact, I actually have an appointment this afternoon with my staff to go over our marketing plan, to discuss, to come up with a more detailed plan as to how we're going to be marketing the radio show, our Twitter, and our social networking, so that we can define it more detailed, so that as a group we can define the actions and how we're going to measure for it. Because you want to put the measurements in as to how you're what you're measuring for, and how you're going to do your marketing.
Well, let's talk about some of that, the doing the marketing, because I know that one of the other basics of sales and marketing is your own personal approach.
Right.
So what does that mean?
Well, it's your commitment to the marketplace. It's how what's unique about you. It's what your view of how you're presenting yourself to the marketplace. It's your interaction with the marketplace. It's your website. It's your blog. It's how you want to be shown up in the marketplace. It's what you want people to say about you. It's you deciding your target market, and you deciding how you're going to interface with them. Not everyone in the marketplace is a perfect fit for you. It's you deciding who is your target market and how you're going to interface for them. It's what's the promises that you're making to the marketplace. And
We know there's thousands and thousands of business coaches out there. So just as an example, because I think people work well off of examples, what would you say the marketing or sales approach is for Possibilities Unlimited?
Well, we're doing internet marketing. We're using our blog. So we're using Twitter. We're using the website. So we're doing telephone marketing. So we're doing a more social networking, internet marketing type of approach. So we're
Also, though, when you're doing that approach, I think the really big difference is you're not just putting up a sign saying, here I am, but in every single aspect of marketing for Possibilities Unlimited, there's an offer of assistance and help. Every tweet that is put up on Twitter, there's information that is shared. Every blog is information that is shared. So it seems like in the approach, while using all the traditional and non-traditional marketing outlets, there's an offer of assistance and saying, you know what, we're here to help you.
Definitely. We're willing to give something. We're willing to contribute. We're willing to share what we know with others. We have experience, we have knowledge, and we want to give that to others. We want to contribute that to others. As a group, we have a lot of combined experience. We're writing a book, which we will be publishing. We want to share our knowledge with the public, with business owners. We want business owners to move forward faster as a result of the experience that we've learned as a group of consultants in business.
So it sounds like when somebody is defining their own approach to marketing, they need to consider who their clients are, obviously what your business is, but also how are you different in the way that you deliver your services or products than your competitors? What's your distinguishing factor?
Right, definitely. And how you're going to interface with the client. We interface over the phone. We interface electronically. We want to save them the time. We're interfacing with them in their office. They don't have to drive to us. So we're giving them the opportunity to save time, and effort in their connection with us. So, all right. So that is pretty much covers what we're after this for today in sales and marketing. We want to remind you that this is Consulting to Win Radio. We want to let you know that next week we're going to have Mary Mullenhoff, another consultant on our staff, and our topic for next week is going to be managing time. That a very interesting challenge that a lot of business owners have. So we're going to be talking about that. Also want to remind you to tune in at 10 o'clock next week to Dr. Jim's show so that he's helping you manage your health, so that which is a key element for every business owner. If you're in good shape, it's going to definitely impact your business. So we want you to be nice and healthy so that you can have a healthy you is going to give you a healthy business. And we want to thank you for your listening. If there's any subject that you'd like us to discuss, please send us an email to ralph@consultingtowin.com. Bonnie, I really appreciate you being here today. It's been a very interesting conversation.
Thank you for having me, Ralph.
It's always a pleasure.
And I just wanted to hand out one little assignment or suggestion for next week, is this week put together a list of all the things that you can do to put your sales plan into action, and I'll have it with you when you listen next week, and Mary and Ralph will help you put together a time plan to implement those ideas.
Definitely. And we invite you to call in. We're always open to have any conversation with you on the phone. We're happy to have call-in questions. And it's really our pleasure to bring you this experience of working with a business coach. We're in the business of answering questions and supporting you in any way we can to cause your business to move forward faster. That's what we're here for, to shorten the learning curve and speed up the process to having profits and results and extraordinary events occur in your business. So thank you very much. Have a great week.
Welcome. You're listening to New Day Talk Radio, where every day is a new day.
You're listening to Consulting to Win with your host, Ralph White.